So only 2 sleeps away, Wiggy.
Yep.
From the draft.
And I was kind of thinking about this. I did a little research, and Chime and I were probably on the same page with this, but I'm even a step further. I don't think drafting a tackle is going to help Drake Maye, an offensive lineman. Because let me tell you why. I think it's more valuable to draft a positional player that he will actually, because I think you could, especially with the 4th overall pick, or if you trade down to the 7th overall pick or whatever it is, if you're picking in the top 10, I think it's more valuable to draft a positional player that a rookie quarterback will get more help from than an offensive lineman. You look at last year, for example, offensive lineman Joe Alt went to the Chargers. One of the biggest issues that the Chargers had, they had an issue with their passing game. A couple years ago, the Arizona Cardinals took an offensive lineman in the top 10. What did they do last year? They went out and got Marvin Harrison. So if you're the New England Patriots and you're sitting there at number 4, whether you want to go Ashton Jeanty, I want to go because I think he's the best player available. I want to go Tyler Warren. You look at what the Raiders were last year. Nothing until they got Brock Bowers, tight end from the University of Georgia, and what he was ultimately able to do. If you just look, here are just some names from the 2023. No, I'm going to go to the 2024 draft. I'm sorry, Greg. Here are just some names, right? So when you think about Malik Neighbors, wide receiver, New York Giants, and what he was able to do for that type of team. I just feel like if you're the New England Patriots, your biggest need right now is offensive skill position. An offensive lineman does not help Drake Maye when you waste the top 10 pick on him.
The offensive line has been an issue.
It's been an issue
for quite some time, though.
But when it comes to like where Drake ranked, when it comes to amount of times he was sacked last year, like he was under pressure some, but overall he was sacked 34 times in the season. That's
right.
and that O-line was terrible.
Yeah, and that's not a lot.
That's a guy that was able to get out of problem situations. So adding in, I'm with Wiggy. Like I want to see.
So it's like it's a wasted pick. Like,
I think it would be.
Will Campbell in your mind is a wasted pick at number 4.
Look at this is the 2020, and this is where I want to go. This is the 2023 draft. Pick 20, 21, 22, and 23. 4 wide receivers back to back. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. We know what he does out in Seattle. Really good wide receiver. Quentin Johnson from the Chargers. Zay Flowers, BC, and what he was able to do for the Baltimore Ravens. And 23, Jordan Addison for the Minnesota Vikings, and he's been relatively good for them. I know he's dealt with some injuries. I just look at, if you have the 4th overall pick, Will Campbell might be good, and I'm not saying he won't be good, but if you hit on Tyler Warren, Ashton Jeanty, I know Shime has Tetero and McMillan. If you hit on one of those guys at number 4, Drake Maye will get a lot more from them than he would from hitting on Will Campbell.
978 text on the Subaru of New England text line. Is Wiggy high this morning?
No, I'm not high.
Yes.
It's
answer is always yes. But an offensive line isn't going to help a second-year quarterback or any quarterback for that matter. LOL.
When you're in a position right now where you have the 4th overall pick, you can get an offensive lineman in the 2nd round. You could, even if you move down, you could get 2 offensive linemen in the 2nd round. If you hit on your top 10 pick who's a skilled player, that player is going to help out a lot more than you wasted. Because let's say you do draft Will Campbell and he's really good. Who's Drake Maye throwing to?
Right.
Also, by the way, that 34 sack number has to be adjusted because he only played, 10 games? Drake Maye?
No, did he play 10 games? All right, so buddy, I bet if you added it up, even with Jacoby Myers, if you added up where they were in sacks, I bet they weren't the worst team in the NFL. I probably bet they were middle of the pack, maybe 17. The point that I'm trying to say is that even if Will Campbell's good, who's Drake Maye throwing the football to?
Well, you're hoping that Steph Diggs is Steph Diggs, right?
Yeah, but he has to be healthy.
He
You
has
don't
to
even
be
know that he's
healthy.
going to be
He
healthy
looks
for
pretty
week
good.
one.
Yeah, but that's Greg. That's running routes against the air. We don't know that. We know he's not. And Chime brings up a great point. We know he's not going to be ready come week one. So you probably won't see Steph Diggs till what, week 6, 7, or 8. If you hit, and I know Shime's an Ashton Jeanty guy, but if you hit on a guy like Ashton Jeanty, it turns out to be like a Bijan Robinson.
And I'm seeing that he played in 13.
So he
13
started 12 games,
Okay.
played in 13.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But I guarantee if you looked at collectively the number of sacks that the Patriots O-line gave up all season long, I bet that's probably, 17, 18, 19, somewhere in that area. And I'm not saying Will Campbell's not going to be good. I just know from being in the NFL and seeing it that if you get a skill player to be elite and you have an elite offensive lineman, that skill player usually at the end of the day is more valuable in the sense of helping you win games than that tackle is.
Normally, I would be totally against Wiggy here because I do believe that the trenches matter, but this draft class is different. Like if Joe Alt was on the board, I would say take Joe Alt, number 4, and don't even hesitate. But because it's Will Campbell, I don't feel that way about Campbell. I don't think Campbell's worth a top 5 pick. I just don't. And I don't think there's any offensive lineman in this draft that's worth a top 5 pick. So in this draft in particular, I think Wiggy's right. I think getting a skill player, whether it's Ashton Jeanty, Tet McMillan, Tyler Warren.
If you take Jeanty, who's blocking for him?
Well, then you take Ozzie Trapillo in the second round out of BC. You take Ariante Ursery out of Minnesota in the second round. Like there's other guys that I think will be as good as Will Campbell that you can get late first round, early second round.
And Chime and I agree with Chime. Like a Joe Alt, they talked about as being potentially, one like a generational tackle. All right.
Like Joe Thomas level.
Yeah.
Good.
So, but even with Joe Thomas, when Cleveland drafted him, he was an unbelievable, Hall of Fame left tackle. But Cleveland wasn't good because they lacked the skill position. I feel like if you're gonna, and believe me, the trenches matter. But if you're gonna sacrifice a little bit, I would much rather try to draft an offensive lineman in the second round and shoot for the moon with a skill player
At number 4.
At number 4.
And stay at number 4, even though this draft, quality-wise, is not what you would like, what you wish it was.
Because if you get Saquon Barkley or Jamar Chase, you're in a way better spot than if you get, Penei Sewell.
Yeah, and that's the point and that's why I think Vrabel and the Patriots, you're helping. Don't get it twisted. Like you're helping Drake Maye, but you could be helping him so much more if you go, all right, we'll take Jeanty, we'll take Tyler Warren, because we can always pick up some linemen in the second round.
This is Nate. Nate, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey,
Wiggy, you're right, but I mean, they're already talking about this draft is just not that draft. They're talking about Cam Ward. If he was in last year's draft, he'd be the 7th quarterback coming out. Like you have to get that impact guy. Campbell, they're already talking about if they draft him as a tackle this year, next year they're going to kick him out to guard like Brandon Coleman with the Commanders. That's a wasted pick. You got to get the top guy in their position, be it Tyler Warren, be it Austin Jeanty, or even Jalen Walker. We need 5 guys, impact guys out of this draft. They've been saying it the whole time. All these years we have not hit on our draft picks, except for like Drake Maye, you know what I mean? But he landed in our lap. We need impact guys to come in and impact this team. We have too many holes to fill. You need that Pro Bowl or All-Pro guy to come in. When was the last time we had a Pro Bowl or All-Pro guy?
long time.
It's been a while.